If you're hearing this, don't turn off the light. Tonight's story isn't about ghosts or monsters hiding under your bed. It's about something that hides inside you, waiting, watching, learning how to be you. This isn't a legend or a myth passed around on forums. This is a confession, one that was never meant to be found. So sit back, keep your eyes open, and listen carefully. Because what happened to Will could happen to anyone. Something inside. Will I know? No one will believe me. But I have to tell someone before the memories blur. And I started out what really happened. I loved Will. God, I loved him more than anything. We met when we were both sophomores in college. One of those stupid coincidences that feels like destiny later. We were inseparable, best friends, then lovers, then the kind of couple that people say are meant to be. After graduation, we moved to a small town in the Midwest. We found a house with a porch or yard and more quiet than we were used to. For a while, we were happy, really happy. When I got sick for weeks, Will barely slept, taking care of me. When he lost his job, I was the one who reminded him it was temporary. We built a life that felt solid, safe, real. But safety never lasts, does it? 3 years ago, everything started to rot beneath the surface. It began when I got pregnant. We were thrilled, picking names, painting a room yellow, laughing about baby clothes. But 2 months later, I got sick again. It started like before, fever, vomiting, weakness. And then I lost the baby. The doctors couldn't explain it. They never could. They said my immune system might have overreacted, or that it was one of those things. Will didn't handle it well. At first he was just quiet, then anxious. He began throwing out perfectly fine food, saying it smelled off. He checked my car before every drive. He started locking the fridge at night. He'd whisper sometimes, "I don't want you to get sick again." It was sweet almost until it wasn't. Every time I brought up trying again, he'd freeze. His eyes would go glassy, and he'd change the subject. I thought he was just grieving, so I gave him time. Then one afternoon, while cleaning out the attic, I found a spiral notebook wedged between 2 dusty boxes. It looked like a journal. Will's handwriting filled every page. At first I thought it was some kind of therapy exercise. But the more I read, the more I realized it was something else. A confession. Or maybe a warning. Something else sees through my eyes, the first line said. I know how it sounds, which is why I never told anyone. Not even you. He had written pages describing something that had been inside him for years. He said it started when he was 7, a sting or a bite while playing in the woods. His friends carried him home, crying, with a swelling the size of an egg on his neck. He spent 2 days in the hospital, then went home fine. No scar, no pain, just an EpiPen and strict orders never to go back to those woods. But that night, he woke up standing at his bedroom window, staring into the dark. He said it felt like something was behind his eyes, moving them. He tried to explain it away. A dream, a childhood fantasy. But over time, the feeling didn't go away. By then, he was talking to it, not like a crazy person he wrote, but like a child with an imaginary friend. He said it made him feel safe, watched over, chosen, he wrote. Reading it, I felt something twist in my gut. He said it never frightened him until he met me. When you got sick the first time, he wrote, I thought I'd lose you. I prayed, I begged, and when you came home, I thanked God. But when it happened again, when we lost the baby, I knew it wasn't God listening. Will said He woke up one night, standing in the kitchen, staring at the open refrigerator. He was pouring something thick and white from his hand into the milk jug. He didn't know what it was. It smelled rotten metallic. When he looked down, it was oozing from a slit in his palm. He panicked, ran to the sink, tried to scrub it off, but the smell clung to him. Then he tasted it. Bitter. Sour. He reached into his mouth, thinking maybe he'd been bleeding, but his finger brushed against something hard in the back of his throat, a tiny sharp point. When he shone a flashlight, he saw a white spur of bone pushing out of the pink flesh. It twitched, and every time it moved, more of that white fluid spilled down his tongue. He vomited until his throat burned. That's when I knew he wrote, "It's been in me all along." He thought about going to the hospital, but he was afraid of what they'd find. He told himself it was a nightmare or a breakdown, anything to stay with me. But over time, he could feel it thinking, watching me through him. The journal became darker after that. He started keeping lists, what I ate, where I went, how often he lost time. Sometimes I wake up and you've already eaten breakfast. I don't remember cooking it. I don't remember pouring your coffee. But I smell the milk, that smell. And I know. He wrote that he tried to stop it locking the fridge, hiding the food. He even stayed awake for days at a time, terrified to sleep. But the gaps kept getting longer. It's smarter than me, he said. It's patient. It learns. The last entry was short. I'm going to end this before it reaches you. Tomorrow I'll go to the woods. I'll make sure it dies with me. The date was May 14th, 2023. I didn't realize I was crying until I heard footsteps behind me. When I looked up, Will was standing in the doorway. He shouldn't have been home. He stared at me, his expression blank, too blank. "What are you doing?" he asked. His voice was low, careful. Nothing I said. Just reading. Reading what? Just stuff on my phone. I laughed weakly. Sappy things. Girl stuff. His head tilted just slightly. "You look like you've been crying." I forced a smile. "I'm fine." He nodded a small mechanical motion. "Well," he said, "dinner's ready. I made you something special." Something cold passed through me. I said I'd be right there. He waited for a moment too long before walking away. I sat there, the journal trembling in my hands. Felt heavier now. Alive. I don't know how long I sat before I got up and went downstairs. The house smelled faintly of milk, sour metallic. Will was waiting at the table. 2 plates, 2 glasses of milk. He smiled when he saw me. That smile. It wasn't right. It was too still. I wanted to scream to run, but instead, I sat down. My hands moved on their own. And when he lifted his glass, I did too. The milk touched my lips. It tasted bitter. I don't know why I'm writing this now. Maybe because I feel it too, the pressure behind my eyes. The faint, crawling warmth inside my throat when I swallow. Maybe because Will was right. It's patient. It learns. And it's still hungry. You've been listening to NightLore. If you're still here. Thank you for staying with me till the end. But before you go, I need you to answer one question. When you looked in the mirror this morning, did your reflection blink first? If it did, maybe you should stop drinking milk for a while. Sleep well, if you can.